You'll get a generous helping of both delicious menu items and valuable information on how we serve our members. Oh, wait, there's prizes and a free gift, too. Tickets and more information are available by visiting Friendly Federal Credit Union, the place that makes more sense for you. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care, 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
PA Cyber presents Midland Music Mondays at Lincoln Park. On July the 15th at 6:30 p.m., enjoy the Allegheny Brass Band on July the 15th in the park, rain or shine. Food truck service begins at 5 p.m. Sponsored by Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMVA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning on this Monday, July the 15th of 2024. At 30 minutes past 10, we've got a temperature of 81 degrees with sunny skies in Beaver County. We can expect partly sunny skies all day long with some possible thunderstorms this afternoon. We'll reach a high of 92. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Minutes into a rally held by former President Donald Trump Saturday in Butler, a shooter opened fire in an assassination attempt. The FBI early Sunday named 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park as the shooter. 3 people were injured and 1 person died as a result. Trump was grazed by a bullet on the ear. Both a 57-year-old and 74-year-old are currently listed in stable condition, and 50-year-old Corey Comparator was killed while trying to protect his family. Numerous witnesses at the event claim to have seen Crooks on top of the building prior to the shooting and say they notified police. Officers responded to the building, which was approximately 400 to 500 feet away from the stage. One officer was said to have encountered Crooks before retreating as Crooks pointed a gun at him, and Crooks then began firing before being killed quickly by the Secret Service. The incident is still under investigation. Multiple local officials have made statements regarding the incident, and those can be read online at beavercountyradio.com. Congressman Chris DeLuzio, along with U.S. Senator Bob Casey, announced a $3,661,000 community project funding grant for Darlington Township. The funding will help to build the infrastructure needed to offer clean public drinking water for Darlington Township residents. Currently, Darlington residents use private wells and springs and do not have access to a public water source. The Norfolk Southern train derailment exposed the vulnerabilities of an entire community depending on well water in instances of potential contamination. The funding that was secured will help to provide an option for residents to access public water by connecting them to water service via the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. PennDOT has announced that Beaver Grade Road in Moon Township is now reopened. A portion of Beaver Grade Road between Duckhorn Road and Montour Road had been closed since January 26th due to a landslide. Emergency slide repair work on the approximate $5.3 million project included repairs using 52,000 tons of rock material to stabilize the hillside. A warrant has been issued for an Aliquippa woman in her child's death. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that Aliquippa police and paramedics responded to a Boundary Street home on November 4th for an unresponsive 4-month-old infant. After all life-saving efforts were rendered, the infant was transported to UPMC Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, and tests showed that the child tested positive for cocaine. Rachel Dluback, the child's mother, faces a felony charge of involuntary manslaughter and endangering the welfare of a child. Any information on Dluback's whereabouts can be reported to the Aliquippa Police. And the Beverly Hills 90210 star, whose life and career were roiled by tabloid stories, Shannon Doherty has died at 53. Doherty's publicist said the actor died Saturday following years with breast cancer. Catapulted to fame as Brenda in Beverly Hills 90210, she worked in big screen films including Mallrats and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and in TV movies including A Burning Passion, The Margaret Mitchell Story, in which she played the Gone with the Wind author. She later competed on Dancing with the Stars in 2010.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly sunny, hot, and humid today, with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the late afternoon through the evening. We'll reach a high near 93. Partly cloudy tonight. We'll see some showers and thunderstorms through the overnight. We'll drop down to a low around 72. Mostly sunny and hot on Tuesday, with more showers and thunderstorms possible. Look for a high near 92 and an overnight low of about 71. And cloudy with showers and thunderstorms likely on Wednesday. A high near 83 is expected. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Monday, July the 15th of 2024, at 34 minutes past 10, we've got a temperature of 81 degrees with sunny skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
It is that, and one of the pictures that I saw was deeply, a lot of the pictures that I saw over the weekend were startling and uncomfortable. And one of them that showed up on my Facebook feed was somebody that I know and consider a friend, and it was terrifying. Rico Elmore joins me now. Do you know how weird it was to go online and look and say, hey, that's Rico, covered in blood? How much have you slept since Saturday?
Eddie, I think I probably slept a good 2 hours since the event. It's difficult to fathom what I was a part of.
Has it slowed down enough where you're piecing it together? Or because when you're right in the middle of something this catastrophic, sometimes you don't know what's going on. Did you know what was going on as it was going on?
Eddie, I tell you, when those first shots rang out, the first inclination was firecrackers.
That's what you thought?
Yes, sir. Nobody wants to believe that somebody would shoot into a crowd of civilians and aiming at what we have now came to conclusion at the President Trump. No one would think that. But it happened. So I was just in a maze.
How was it that you were on stage?
So I actually had the offer to come to the rally to speak at the rally. And in those kind of circumstances, whenever the campaign or anyone calls you, being the governor, whether it's the current president, the vice president, former president, whatever, when someone of that caliber calls you and says, I would like for you to speak, I don't see why you would say no.
You go.
That's it.
Yeah. Has it sunk in yet? Are you piecing together information from memory, or are you piecing together information from the different news stories that come out?
I tell you, Eddie, I have told my story a couple times, and whenever they put on the air of Secret Service surrounding President Trump and the photo of him getting hit in the ear, and then also followed by him putting his fist up, I literally did not see any of that. So if anybody would have asked me, did that all happen? I would have said, I don't know, because my main focus, I was turned around rendering aid to the individual who was struck in the head.
Has it shocked you yet? The full gravity of what you were a part of?
I believe that the shock is there.
Yeah.
But I've been so busy just talking to people and explaining the story and explaining what has happened that I don't really think that the shock has set in.
You've been too busy addressing questions like this rather than to take the time.
I would agree.
Yeah. Are you going to be able to take the time? Are you still getting phone calls? I texted you yesterday, and you called me right back. And, brother, I'll tell you what, I did not expect a phone call back, much less that quick. How busy has your phone been?
I would say if this was 2000 era and we still had minutes, I would still be paying extra for over usage.
It would have cost you.
Yes.
All right. Where do we go from here politically? You're a Republican. The Republican convention, I think, starts today in Milwaukee. I've seen a lot of blame back and forth on both sides. What's the best way? If you could say, here's how we're going to move forward as a country or as a party, what would you say?
Eddie, I would say exactly what you just said. We have to move forward as a country and as a party and as a people, because regardless of your political viewpoints, regardless of where you are at on the scale, left, right, center, we have to come together. We have to work together. We cannot keep fighting each other. And that goes on both sides of the aisle. Mm-hmm. It's time that we come together. It's okay to be a Democrat and me to be a Republican. We can still work together, and I have done such many times before. So I just hope that I can be a beacon for those who are out there to say, you know what, it's time to work together, and it's time to end the divisiveness between each other.
Do you think we're capable of that as a country right now?
Everyone has a choice. We all have choices. We all make them every single day, and those choices have consequences, good and or bad. I hope that we make the best decision possible. And the only way I can tell you, Eddie, to do that is to put God in every single decision.
How do you do that? How do you, and I'm going to bring back some of my vacation Bible school questions for you for a second. Rico Elmore is my guest. How do you bring God into a godless situation that from the outside looking in seems to be politics? I hear a lot about God. I don't see much behavior based on the book.
Eddie, that is very true. Whenever you live in the world and of the world, something has to go. And a lot of times people put God to the side and only pick him up or pick that book up whenever something traumatic happens. You have to pray and ask God for his guidance, because his guidance is the only one that's true. In the world, you can have so many opportunities and choices to make, but yet if you don't make them with a sound heart and sound judgment and have God's wisdom, you're not going to make the best choice possible. So pray about it. Seek a higher power.
Does it scare you like it does me when you go online an hour after this happened and it's your fault? No, it's your fault, and it's my fault, and it's their fault, and we instantly go to trying to find something to blame. It's much easier, seemingly, once we find someone to blame, Rico, we can forget about it. Is this something that same horrible process is going to happen?
Eddie, I truly hope that the blame game does not keep going. What happened, as horrific as it is, and my prayers go out to the family of the deceased and of the injured. At the same time, we have to come together and not allow this to happen again. I cannot sit here today, tomorrow, the day after, and blame anyone for the circumstances that has occurred. These are all choices that people have made based on their own feelings, based on the rhetoric, based on what they want to do. And when we stop blaming people and when we take responsibility for our own actions, that's when I believe that we can start moving together and forward in unity as a country.
You don't think we're too far gone?
Being too far gone, I don't think so. Because even when Jesus Christ was on the cross, he told the thief, who may have his whole life been a thief and done bad things, that he will be with him in paradise. So there's always a chance.
I want to make sure I phrase this right. Rico Elmore is my guest. Rico was on stage at the Trump rally in Butler when the assassination attempt happened. Do you view politics differently now than you did before Saturday? What has changed about how you view the political world, if anything?
looking at the political environment, looking at the world today, I see that in many aspects that the media and people's perspective has changed the true meaning of what politics is. To me, in the political environment, it's the individuals from your hometown, the community that comes together and elects an official to go and speak on their behalf. It's someone who comes back with suggestions and takes what you have as a suggestion and puts it together and puts forth the best policies. I still believe that that's what politics is. It's the voice of the people, and I still believe that. But too often, I might be the only one that believes that.
Well, you feel like you're on an island and nobody else is on it?
Sometimes.
Yeah? How tempting is it to say, to heck with it, I'll join the rabble and start screaming from one side or the other? Because nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. You know that.
That is true.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I have thought about it. I cannot lie. I've thought about, what if I just went on with the flow of things? But the problem is, when I ran those 2 times, and in my life and in my upbringing, and I tell you, my mother raised me to be someone of honor, duty, courage, integrity, and have manners, which I don't hear a lot today. But
you were a yes ma'am, yes sir guy, weren't you?
If I said yes to my mom, oh yeah.
It only took once, didn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah was not a word that was allowed.
No, and that's what we need more of in today's society. But for me to go and to act upon the radical urges is not me. It's not my character. So I'm not going to be somebody I'm not. I'm going to be who I am and who I was raised to be.
How do you change somebody who is what you're not? How do you convince them to change themselves?
Well, you just show them how the world is today. You yell on one side and this person yells on the other side, and nothing gets done besides you keep yelling. But if you come together and you put forth good ideas, or even if you have a bad idea and someone comes up with a better idea, you work together to get that idea through, and it becomes the best for the people. That's what's important.
Do you think the American public in general sees that is what's important? That's what's important to you. That's what's important to representation. Do you think the average American voter sees that as important?
Well, it's hard to say because I've come in contact with a lot of voters. When I knocked 13,000 plus doors.
Right.
My main focus and important thing is I have a daughter who's 12 years old, and she's growing up in this time where there is division between both sides.
Just like my daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's rough. As a father, my primary focus is to protect, as yours is, to protect your children on everything that's out there. But they will grow up in a world where there is division. And I think that you cannot force somebody to believe what you believe, but you can tell them and show them what you believe and why you believe it's true and why you believe it's right. But in the same time, in the same space, it's their choice. And that's one of the freedoms that we have in the United States.
How can this be a learning experience for America? Are we capable of learning anything?
Everything that you do in life is a learning experience. So, in this horrific situation, the learning experience I take from this is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, today. You need to love and be there for the ones you love. You need to be there for the friends and the family. Don't let anger, don't let animosity, and don't let political bias or political interference or, don't let the politics disrupt you.
Did your daughter ask about it?
Yes.
How'd you handle that?
It was, you ever just come into a room and you have to be the strongest person in the room?
Yeah, you walk in knowing that. So,
yes.
All right. Yeah.
When my daughter asked me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Daddy's fine. Daddy's okay. are you okay? Because she witnessed the aftermath. She's seen it all on the news. 12-year-old little girl.
She saw you in a white shirt covered in blood all over every political website, everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very traumatic experience for her. But I assured her that I was okay. And then she said, "Daddy, you're a hero," which touched my heart. And I explained to her that Daddy did what was right. Daddy is not a hero, but the man who died is a true hero. The doctor who provided CPR is a true hero. The men and women who ran towards the firing to take out the assailant, those are the heroes. Your dad was just there.
Rico Elmore is my guest on Teleforum. What do you want to tell people that nobody's asked you about? What should I have asked you about that you want to share? Because I know you've had a day or two to... Is the thinking starting to slow down a little bit?
I have replayed the images over and over in my head. I have seen the gentleman who lost his life literally in my hands over and over and over. That my actions and the doctor's actions, we just jumped in to try to save a life. And I would tell people to never be afraid to do what's right. A young man once told me, what is right is not always righteous, but what is righteous is always right. That's a phrase from Dr. Sheffield. And
That's
I
a
will always do that.
phenomenal phrase. Well, man, thank you for coming in. I texted you, like I said, and I'm thinking, if I'm Rico, I ain't even touching my phone because I know what's going on. Within 2 minutes, you had texted me back. And then this morning, getting in touch, and I'll come in.
It's a message. It's a horrible situation, but the world needs to know. The world needs to know the true hero, and that's Corey. That's the true hero.
Rico Elmore, my guest. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. Beaver County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the